Right, well, we're live, folks, and welcome to Leaders Live. And I'm Andrew Jenkins, and this is a short countdown timer. Just out the kind of various feeds catch up, folks. So, yeah, if you're just seeing if the feed has caught up with itself, just bear with me. So, still waiting for the feed to come up. So, yeah, we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks, and today we'll be hanging out with the wonderful, amazing Tilly Davis, LinkedIn expert and marketing CX CEO. So how about that? I think that deserves a... Ooh. So hi Tilly, how you doing? Give us a wave. Quick hello. Brilliant. Still waiting for the feed to come in. Come on feed, where are you? There we go, we're on. Lovely, super duper. And helping us to engage, we have the lovely Birdine Hugo, our fabulous moderator, chipping in, and she'll be keeping the interaction flowing. So quick hello, Birdine, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. And I'm glad to be joining the screen with Tilly today.
Yeah, the amazing Tilly, fantastic. Yeah, we can't wait. So, music by my Uncle Peter. This is we think this is the 64th show, or the 65th show, I think 64th. And here's the DMS sponsorship logo. Yeah, so there we are, and yeah. I hope you enjoyed that jingle, folks, from our wonderful sponsors, Your DMS, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and we're delighted that we are being powered by Your DMS, our Leaders Live sponsor. Yeah, we're so excited about that, and more on Your DMS as we go through the show, folks, so just so you know. So let's just oi oi people, it's Leaders Live showtime, folks, and it's just after 8:45 here in the UK. And Sawabona Abantu to you all, a beautiful Zulu word for hello people. That's what it means, and I see you all deeply. I direct my attention totally to you, all completely with love and joy. I love that expression. So we're live, folks, with Leaders Live, spreading the love, yabba dabba do. Let us know if our audio's coming through okay too. I can't see the comments yet, so hopefully the comments are coming through. Birdine, can you see any comments yet? I haven't heard any comments coming through just yet.
No, I haven't seen anything.
No, so please give us a few comments so we know those are coming through. Jack, morning to you. Great. So we know that's working. Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, phew. So if you don't know me, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and we are streaming out on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Facebook profiles, Facebook groups, Twitter, and Twitch as well. Ta-da. And we're also streaming out on Tilly's social media channels as well, and Birdine's and Your DMS's. It's quite amazing how all this technology works, and it's all simultaneously. How does that work? Wow. I don't know, but don't you just love tech? So yeah, all the comments are flowing through now. Morning Mary, morning Kurt, morning Jonas, fantastic. And if you can't catch us on live or on the replay, fear not, my friends, we have you covered. This will go out on podcast too, and we are super duper excited to be hopefully streaming out live on my all new leaderslive.tv website too. So we've got a live stream happening there as well. I think my wife's checking that one out to see whether it's working. So yeah, all that's going on. Quick announcement, folks. So in September we hope to be launching a new Leaders Live pilot called Fishbowl Friday. And I've been talking to Tilly about that as well as a few others online right now. And listen out at the end for more details. We are also offering a brand new VIP backstage room for you regulars to hang out as well. Oh, so yeah, all that lot's coming. And so yeah, you can hang out with us 15 minutes before the show, 15 minutes after the show. And we're going to have a video room in Discord, folks. And it's a bit like Zoom on steroids if you don't know. Discord, and we'll start to feature this with more announcements in the Leaderslive LinkedIn group shortly, just so you know again. And in the meantime, please add yourself to the Leaderslive Discord group so we can build this up, and Birdie will add the link if it's not there already. And that expires every 7 days, so you've only got 7 days and then another link will go out. So please sign up to Discord. That would be fantastic. Back to the show again now, folks. It's an interactive show, you know. For you regulars, you know how it goes. So please get involved, join in, ask questions, network with the live community, and even a little friendly banter. And for you regulars, lead the way, show how we roll. And smash those likes too, folks, and those thumbs up. That really helps us, and we appreciate that. Keeps us motivated too. Yay. And if you like what you see, and you want to say thank you for all the effort that goes into put this free show on board, you can buy me a coffee too, folks. It's called buymeacoffee.com. You can find that on buymeacoffee /leaderslive. That's the link, buymeacoffee.com /leaderslive. Links in the chat, or it will be, and it's an awesome app and it's good fun as well, and you get a shout out on this channel. I think it looks a little bit like this, if I can send a test through right now. Hey, there we go. That's pretty good, isn't it? Oh, I love that. So yeah, please feel free to buy me a coffee. So phew, put it all together, what have you got? Bibbity bobbity boo. Bibbity bibbity bobbity boo. Love that expression. So good morning, Paul Winfield. Good morning, Keaton. Good morning, Kurt. Good morning, Jonas and Mary. I've just said good morning to you, Paul. Good morning, all. Amanda, good morning. Paul West, good morning. And Alice Mason, good morning. And thanks for the links, Birdine. Brilliant. What else have we got? Hello, lovely, says Joe Cooper, nearly in sunny Oxfordshire. Oh, wow. Okay, so you might be. Oh, I see, from nearly sunny Oxfordshire. Okay, fine. So let's bring in this week's Leaderslive guest without any further ado, folks. So let me just bring in there. So this week's Leaderslive guest, as I've already mentioned, I'm hanging out with the most amazing, awesome Tilly Davis. And now, Tilly is no stranger to LinkedIn, folks. Her and her team are the marketing power behind Leaderslive and my company PDX Consulting. So they do all the marketing for me, and I can't recommend them highly enough, actually. And Tilly has also been on the show a few times now, talking about marketing CX and really the term, sort of the magic sweet spot of triangulating technology, marketing, and all things LinkedIn. And I think that's what Tilly does remarkably well. That's her unique USB of kind of marrying those three up and getting that sweet spot. How you doing, Till?
I'm doing awesome, Andrew. I'm back on Businessskills, so I am just great.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear from you today, and that's great that you are awesome. so Tilly's also got an exclusive Leaderslive special offer for anyone requiring her makeover services and other services as well. We'll cover all that lot later, just so you know again. So Tilly, kick us off. What have you got for us today? What's going on today? What treats have you got in store for us today?
Andrew, today is going to be different. You know, everybody talks about and asks questions around how can I get more engagement on my content? How can I get people to respond to my messages? How can I get results on LinkedIn? Well, I decided that I am tired of people not having the results they should have on LinkedIn. So I'm going to reveal the secrets.
Oh,
you see,
nice.
it's not just about how to do things. You need the process. And this is something very few people talk about. And I'm going to detail today a term that we're all familiar with, but we don't know how to do it on LinkedIn. And that is employee advocacy, brand advocacy, strategy, process. So there's a lot in store today, Andrew.
Nice. Well, I like that. Thank you. A lot in store today, and LinkedIn advocacy, team advocacy, employee advocacy. That's going to be an interesting word. I can't wait to find out a little bit more about that. So to kick us off, Tilly, you have an audience. You have a question for the audience, haven't you, to get us going? What's your question for this morning, Tilly?
Yes, I would like to know from the audience, how many of you do have a LinkedIn page and feel that it's actually worth it? Okay. How would you rate your LinkedIn page if you have one?
Okay, and by page we mean a company page, folks, don't we?
Yeah, a company, not your profile on
not
LinkedIn,
your profile.
a company page.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Okie dokie. Thank you. So, how do you have a LinkedIn company page? And if you do, how do you rate it, folks? The questions are ready in the chat. So Bernie's popped that there. So we'll come back to this in a minute, folks. As you know, there's a slight delay in using the comments to respond to Tilly's question in just a while, folks. So I'm going to come back to you in just a tick, Tilly, as well. So quick, let's get back to our lovely moderator. So, as you know, the lovely Berdine, if you've been on this show before, is our fantastic, wonderful, amazing moderator. And during the countdown, I briefly introduced Berdine. So over to you, Berdine, to say a bit more to us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. At least we've got some sunny weather in South Africa today, which is great. And I'm looking forward to Tilly taking you all through employee advocacy, as I know it's a term that most of you aren't very familiar with and don't really know how to get going with it. So Tilly will share all of those secrets with you, and I hope you guys take so much from this today.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you, Berdine. Yeah, and we've got an announcement coming up later to do some more with Tilly later in the Fishbowl Friday, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. So watch out for that at the end. So as mentioned, Leaderslive, thanks Berdine, by the way, as mentioned, Leaderslive is an interactive show, so please join in, don't be shy, use the comments, get some back and forth going, engage with us during the show as you're already doing. I can see lots of comments coming through already. Remember, it's a group conversation. So for you regulars, set the example, you know how we roll. And also, we have a 5-minute interlude slot this morning again on Leaderslive. Again today, folks, if you're new to Leaderslive, this is called Your DMS Get to Know You in 5, where we briefly feature a regular on the show so we can all get to know that person a little bit more and put a face to a name and a name to a face and all of those things. So, wow. So that's coming up at the halftime interlude. And today's show, we are showcasing a more recent regular watcher, Mark Ferguson, who has recently set up Highworth Business Growth Limited. And I believe that's associated to Pendleton Global, who have helped hundreds and hundreds of business owners to achieve guaranteed measurable growth, all in a meaningful time frame. So that's coming up at the intermission. So that's when Mark will be joining us just for 5 minutes. And it's also a time where we shout out our fabulous sponsor, Your DMS, just so you know. Okay, fantastic. So back to Tilly again. Let's bring Tilly back into the space. And just before you begin, let's give Tilly a round of applause. Where is the Tilly scene? There we go. Let's give Tilly a round of applause. There we go. I love this confetti stuff. Feel the love, Tilly, feel the love. Hope you like the groovy build up, and you'll be clearing up that confetti for ages, folks. Tilly, so yeah, you'll need a brush pan for a brush and a brush pan for ages. So Tilly, you asked the audience a question. Let's start with this, and I'll ask you to chip in here and there, but let's just go quickly to Berdine and just take us through what's gone on with the company page stuff, the question that Tilly asked earlier.
Okay, perfect. Laurie Hale said she's got a company page, but it needs help, but they've just started out.
Okay.
Alice said, yes, just set it up, but not using it as much.
Okay.
Kurt said, I do not have a company page. Mary said they do have a company page. Joe said we do integrity print.
Brilliant.
Jonas said I have one, but it's still very bare, needs lots of work. Jack said, yes, we do. We have grown out the business page over the pandemic. So yes, I think it's worth it. Before the pandemic, I would say no. Mark said, morning, Andrew and team. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Paul said we have one for niche consulting services, but possibly not the ideal page. And then Amanda said she would like to have tips to bring more audience to the company or business page on LinkedIn.
Well, there you go. What say you, Tilly? Over to you, Tilly.
Well, the importance of a company page is very misunderstood, Andrew. One of the biggest things with the company pages on LinkedIn is helps you to be visible on LinkedIn as well as off LinkedIn, due to the fact that the company page will always be on the first page right behind your website. And the whole thing around the company page is understanding how to integrate it with your profile. And I think that's what we are going to focus on today.
So you go from profile to company page to website details. Is that right, Tilly?
That's right.
Okie
Yes.
dokie. Righty ho. So we will be focusing more on that in a moment. But just before we do, you have a second question for us, Tilly, about LinkedIn marketing strategy. What's your second question for us?
I would like to know how many of the people in the audience today actually do have a documented LinkedIn marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy. Okay, folks, so that's the question. Do you have a documented LinkedIn marketing strategy along with user guidelines as well? Have you got such a thing? That would be interesting to find out. Elaine's just said all of this. Elaine's just said, this was regards to the first question. Not sure, Tilly. I can't be bothered. Persuade me. Love that. Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant.
Challenge.
Brilliant. And yeah, we have a business page, but we have not been able to put any content in it. Okay, so watch this space, Xavier. Brilliant. Okay, so pop the answers into the question. Do you have a documented LinkedIn marketing strategy along with user guidelines? And yeah, pop it in the feed. We'll pick that up in a minute. And while we're waiting for that, the theme of this morning's live, Tilly, is all about how teamwork makes the dream work on LinkedIn. So persuade us, Tilly, as Elaine has just asked. Persuade us, Tilly. Show us, talk to us about what do you mean by team advocacy? Why is it so important? Take it away for us.
Andrew, it is actually very simple. If you look at the fact that people buy from people, people do not buy from a brand. Now, the whole idea about team advocacy, or what I call employee advocacy, is to create a marketing force with your workforce. In other words, what that really means, and I do apologize, I have hardy doors here, and I just heard.
I wondered what that was. I thought we had a technical problem for a minute. Look at Bertie, she's like, oh God.
I'm in a bird area, and I just heard these hardy doors, and I thought, okay, they're answering the question loud and clear.
I think they just landed on your roof by the sounds of it.
Yeah, no, they were a little bit noisy. But the whole idea around employee advocacy, team advocacy, is to create within your employees a structure, a marketing strategy to get your brand visible.
Yeah.
And within LinkedIn, it is the perfect platform to do it on. Now, a lot of times we look at employee advocacy just by the numbers, and it's not a numbers game. It's actually, there's a lot more to this, because it's not just a matter of fact that your employees might have X amount of people in their network, so there's more people seeing it. There's also a lot of structures around employee advocacy that you build into your strategy to ensure that the right marketing message is going out to your employees' network. And this is what employee advocacy is all about. Statistics reveal that through employee advocacy, you get engaged employees. And engaged employees has got a far bigger reach than your brand, than your company itself. So the whole idea is to get your employees to become engaged in your brand message, and ultimately in your business strategies.
So get them involved in LinkedIn. And what happens if you're a solopreneur as well? How do you make that work for smaller businesses?
Andrew, that is a very good question, because when you talk about employee advocacy, we think about, I have to have 10 or so on. You can do employee advocacy on LinkedIn with one employee. Yeah. But if you're a solopreneur or a freelancer, there is referral advocacy, collaboration advocacy. If you take it like this, Andrew, our relationship between PDX, Leaderslive, and Marketing CX, this is collaboration advocacy. So it is a similar concept. Just instead of using your employees, you can use your suppliers, your partners, your people that you work with. Take another example, for instance, like your website designer. As long as you and your collaborators serve the same ideal client, the same audience, you can build an advocacy program with any one of those
Oh, I
as
like
well.
that. Nice idea. We'll come back to an advocacy program. That sounds really interesting. I'll pick you up on that a bit later. I want to go to the poll in a moment, but before we do that, might be an advantage right now. Berdine, what's going on in the chat? Let's just let the chat catch up with us, the comments in the chat.
Okay, so you've already gone through Xavier's first comment. Then after the question, he said he doesn't have a marketing strategy.
Okay.
Laurie just left a comment on your beard. Just noticed Andrew's new look. Nice. Laurie, we are still in conflict with this beard. So, yeah.
My wife as well. Berdine said I'm going to have a word with my wife, Sarah. Brilliant.
Amanda said, no, do not have a marketing strategy document. Love to see something that helps to understand.
Okay, yeah, we'll be coming to that in a moment. So brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Paul said, unfortunately not. Kurt said, the birds are excited to learn, Tilly.
Clearly.
Elaine said, I just went outside as I thought the blue azure magpies were stealing the cat food again.
Those naughty magpies. That poor cat.
And then Elaine also said, advocacy sounds common sense when there is a team. It's only me, though. Elaine, I think Tilly just answered that question for you as well.
Yeah.
Mary said, love the idea of collaborating with partners.
Yeah, I agree, Mary. I think that's spot on. That employee advocacy sounds like it's a collaboration with partners as well, according to Tilly. Is that correct, Tilly?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, thank you. Yeah. Did you want to say a bit more about that, Tilly?
Around the partnerships is, if on LinkedIn itself, you link your profile to your page.
Yeah.
So if you do employee advocacy, it is always easy then because each employee, you brand your employee's profile, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then you link your branded employee profile to your page. But in the case of collaboration, you just add your collaborator to the experience section so that you can link your page to your collaborator as well. So you just don't do the branding, but you still link your profile to your collaborator's page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And in a couple of weeks, folks, we're gonna do a Fishbowl Friday on this, where Tilly can get down to the nuts and bolts and really demo this. So that'll be another opportunity if you say, well, how do you actually do that? So thank you, Tilly. And while we're here, let's just get the poll data. We did this poll during the week where we asked, this was based on some research by Harvey Coleman, ex-IBM, across a number of large organisations, and identified 3 factors that determine whether someone is promoted or not. And that was visibility, image and job. And I asked a similar question when it comes to your LinkedIn brand promotion. So rather than personal promotion, I linked this survey to brand promotion strategy instead. And which of these factors do you consider you ought to focus mainly on? And some people said company news, brand and image visibility was 35. 42% of people said, well, all the above, obviously, according to them. And a small percentage of people said something else. So it's interesting when you look at the stats of this, and whether or not you believe that this is true or not. But this was just a survey done some years ago, some decades ago, that actually 90% of what we do for promotion is around image and visibility, which actually, when you think about it, is fairly obvious, I suppose. But we often think, well, what do I need to focus on? Do I need to focus on company news or something else, or is it all about brand and visibility? Tilly, what do you think? What do you make of these answers or these
Um,
stats?
Andrew, I pretty much agree with the fact that it starts with your brand image and
Yeah,
visibility. Um, Company news itself is not really going to push you that hard. It's familiarity with your brand, being recognizable, and being everywhere, becoming a known brand on LinkedIn. Is what is important. And this is where employee advocacy and collaboration advocacy really comes to the fore
yeah.
to get your brand visible. So very much agree with the outcome of this poll.
Yeah, thanks, Tilly. And I think just from my own experience of LinkedIn, I'm a big serious user of LinkedIn. I've got over 30,000 connections, which I've built over many years to get there. And I've loved LinkedIn from the day it was invented, which I think was about 2003, wasn't it? We talked about that in one of our first sessions, and it's grown since there. And I think what a perfect platform we have, folks, to really exploit for And I can't remember how many millions of business people are online now on LinkedIn, but it's millions, isn't it? Hundreds of millions, I think, worldwide. So it's an ideal platform, in my opinion. Much better than Facebook, and in my opinion, anyway, Facebook and the other social media channels, because of its ability to target businesses. What do you think, Tilly? What's your thoughts
It's
on
all
that?
around business to business kind of operations. There is no better platform for that than LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn since 2004, Andrew, I think you and I started at the same time.
Yeah,
But in the beginning, they focused a lot on recruitment and so on.
they
But
did. True.
since around 2012, there's been a huge drive for business to business kind of operations on LinkedIn. And it's really the platform to use to establish your brand
Yeah.
in the marketplace. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And there's a lot of talk on LinkedIn at the moment around social selling, and you're talking about you're talking about employee advocacy and teamwork advocacy and collaborating. Join these together. What is that social selling roadmap when it comes to what you're talking about, Tilly? And brand advocacy. How do you join all this lot together, Tilly? Join it up for us.
Yeah, I think, Andrew, the real thing starts. We need to look at it from the beginning and the planning phase, and this is where the strategy comes in that I
Strategy.
will detail for you a little bit later. But the first thing I would like to do is to highlight how do you establish employee advocacy.
Yeah.
Employee advocacy, I don't know if you're aware, Andrew, is actually something that LinkedIn tried to promote a couple of years ago through a platform called LinkedIn Elevate. But LinkedIn
Ah,
Elevate closed in 2019
I
because there
remember.
wasn't a huge uptake. But the idea of employee advocacy and brand advocacy on LinkedIn is something that's been coming quite a long way. And I'm on a quest to try and get people to understand really what it is. Because I think the first thing that you need to do with employee advocacy is you need to plan it. And you need to understand what you want to try and achieve with it before you just go onto LinkedIn and start linking profiles with pages and get your employees to like, share, and comment on your page content. That does not work. I showed someone earlier this week of a brand that got employee advocacy going, but all the employees do is like the content, and that is not employee advocacy. So, to answer the question, what is employee advocacy? I use a term that I call BEAM, BEEM. Now, BEAM
Beam.
is the four steps that you need to take in order to establish employee advocacy. Now, just bear in mind, you're going to go through almost a similar kind of steps with collaborators or referrals
Okay.
as well.
Right.
So the first step is always is the build phase. It's the
Build.
build step. Now, in the build step, there's a couple of things that you're going to need.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies do not have these. The first one that's always very important to me is, do you have a social media policy?
Yeah.
If you're going to start involving your employees in distributing your brand message, you're going to have a social media policy stating what can and cannot be done. The other thing is, do you have a social media champion within your business? Somebody
Ooh.
that is going to oversee this and make sure that everything happens as it should on time. You need to have a distribution plan. How are you going to distribute your content, your messaging, and so on that comes from, in our case, the LinkedIn page? And also, you're going to have an incentive and a recognition plan for your employees. What's in it for them?
Yeah.
So that is just a very quick overview of the bold step
The build
in
step.
establishing employee advocacy. The second step is educate.
Educate.
Now, you need your employees to understand, how do they use LinkedIn? How are they going to distribute the content? To just like the company page content or just share it without a message is not going to work. So you need to educate and show them how to use the platform. And in this case, for us, is LinkedIn. How are you going to promote your brand internally?
Yeah.
You cannot comment on your company content if you don't understand what your company is all about from an employee perspective. So, what is the steps you're going to take to promote your brand internally to your employees? Um, how are you going to get all of your employees' profiles branded? Now, this is something I have been on about all the time. When you do a research on a company and you find the sales manager and you click on his profile, and it has got the blue screen, you can't see which company it works from. It actually damages your company brand. If you don't start branding your employees' profiles and have a brand kit designed for that. And I've said it earlier as well. What is in it for your employees? Why would they want to do this? A lot of times people want to lay down the law with employee advocacy, and it doesn't work. You need to get buy in. And this is where we then get to the third step, which is engage. How are you going to get them engaged?
Yeah.
How are you going to do the process of sharing content? You need to have a very clear structure and plan of how you're going to do that. Who's creating the content? Who is going to help with assisting with the content and getting the content message out? And who's going to be responsible to ensure that the content that goes out is according to set predefined standards? And then the referral program is really around the collaborators and so on. But if you do get interest on one of your employees' profiles, how are you going to manage that? So you need to build that into your employee advocacy program as well. And then lastly, the M in my beam structure is really measure.
Measure.
You know,
Yeah.
it's no use creating an employee advocacy program, but you don't know if you're actually making progress and if it is adding value to your business. So you need to set up things like your KPIs.
Okay.
You need to understand what it is that you're working towards, and how you're going to improve. how are you going to assist in ensuring that things are going the right way? And you have to constantly review if there's additional training required. LinkedIn has changed so much over the last 2 years. It almost doesn't even look the same anymore. So how are you going to continuously focus on training? So that really is around the steps to take to start building an employee advocacy program.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Tilly. So build, educate, engage, and measure. BEAM, folks. Just on the measuring stage, Tilly, what are the kind of typical things that you would measure? How would you measure success here? What are the kind of things that you'd look out for, just out of interest?
Well, the kind of things that you're going to look out for is there's always two measurements for me. And the one is what I call lag measurements. Lag says, I had so many followers. I added so many followers to my page. I can't change anything around that. It happened. The measurements that I'm looking for is the things I've got control over. So I'm going to measure how many employees are actually actively engaged. I'm going to measure how does that engagement from the employee perspective increase my visibility? How does that increase engagement on my content? How does that actually add to my bottom line, which is going to take me to my strategies in generating more leads, in meeting my business goals, and so on. So there is a number of KPIs that you can build into your strategy when you use employee advocacy like this.
Okay, thank you. Really interesting. Wow. And added motivation for your partners and for your team as well, by the sounds of it. It gets people really involved in the whole process of your brand and being excited about it. And likewise for your partners, I guess you've got to do the same thing for your partners if it's a collaboration as well, which is interesting.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, a multi-way street.
And the interesting thing is, Andrew, if you get your employees this engaged in your brand, they start getting excited about it.
Exactly.
Especially if you start publishing, the results thereof. One of the things I always warn people is don't put this into the onboarding process when you onboard new employees and make it law. You've got to incentivize people to get involved in this. There goes the hobby again.
There goes the birds again, folks. Brilliant. So you've got to incentivize.
They're enjoying this. They're really enjoying this today.
They are. So Amanda says very impressive insights, by the way. Fantastic. Yeah.
One of the things that I always feel that you can do from a KPI point of view is do public call outs with your employees. Give them recommendations on their profiles. Use the LinkedIn kudos, and so on. Create something for your employees that is really going to help them to want to be engaged in this and to get excited about it, because it is.
Got it. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that. And folks, if you've got any questions too as we're proceeding, we're going to talk about strategy next. And we've also got Mark Ferguson in the room now as well, which we're going to bring in a moment to get to know you in 5. So we're going to give Tilly a break in a moment. But if you've got any questions, please start forming those now and start popping them in the chat, because we'll pick those up in a little bit as well. So questions for Tilly, please pop them in now. We'll pick them up later. So we're going to give you a bit of a break for now, Tilly, and yeah, that's woof. And we'll come back to you in a moment, Tilly. It's intermission time, folks, and your DMS slot. So let me just bring that up. So, there we go, and just assign, where are we? Let's hope that he's in the room now. Let's see, and there he is, Mark Ferguson. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. It's great to see you. Yeah, Mark's been a recent contributor to Leaderslive, and I see him online regularly, actually. So recently and regularly too. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for being with us, Mark. So yeah, just before you begin, a bit about our sponsors, Your DMS. Your DMS are specialists in document management solutions with over 20 years of experience in the document management DM industry at Your DMS, and our knowledge and ability, say DMS, to translate and deliver technology to simplify the way organizations work has been proven. Ooh. So, and there's effective time and time again, Your DMS will say. And as we make them more efficient, we also save time and money and enhance engagement with customers and suppliers. What's not to like, especially now we're talking about employee advocacy as well. So, Mark, my friend, groovy to have you on the show, albeit very briefly. We are honoured, sir. We are. Yeah. There we go. So, Mark, over to you to chat. You've got a pretty new business recently, High Worth Business Growth, in association with Pendleton Global, I understand. Tell us briefly a little bit about this and what ways we, the lovely people watching and listening, can help you on this stream, Mark. Over to you.
Yeah, great. Well, Andrew and teams, thank you very much for the introduction. It's great to be here. I'll try and be brief. It's not normally my style. Give me the microphone and I'm in charge for hours and hours.
Yeah.
400 pages of PowerPoint, but I promise not to do any of that.
None of that here. We don't do PowerPoint here.
There you go. So this is really my shout out to business owners out there.
Yeah.
And my business helps business owners like you folks out there get your time and your life back and still grow your business.
Nice.
After 25 years or more, maybe, I don't really want to remember it all. 25 years in big corporates, my world has changed. I've gained this really healthy respect for small business owners like you folks.
Yeah.
You have to be on your A game every day. Not everyone can do it. It's otherwise everybody would be a business owner, but most people are employees, right?
Right.
Business is tough.
Yeah.
There is no time, and there's no second chances, and the buck has to stop with you folks.
Right. Spot on.
And it really is not plain sailing. Some business owners lose their way. It can be lonely. You can be stressed and tired most of the time, and you don't always know where to go and what to do next to keep your business on track.
Yeah.
And in this fast changing world that we're in, it is complicated and it is uncertain, and that leads to sleepless nights and so on. So really my shout out is, if this is you folks or someone like that, give me a call. My service, it's proven, in association with Pendleton Global. It's guaranteed. I only succeed when you do too. So, my strapline, I help business owners like you get your time and your life back and still grow your business.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. That's brilliant. Thank you. In a nutshell, well done. Very good. So we'll pick interactions up as we go along. Jack's just said hi. I think I displayed that earlier. There. Jack saying hi. Get to know you, Mark. Here are five quick fire questions, because this is get to know you in 5, right? So here we go. Are you ready? What 3 words would describe, what 3 words would you use to describe your leadership style? Ooh.
Well, when I'm not being dad, and when I'm not decorating this big old house, and when I'm not working and doing all that stuff in LinkedIn and everything else.
Of course.
I love big boat yacht racing.
Oh, wow.
Between sport and business are everywhere. Yeah. So my 3 words for leadership, it's all about the team, the task, and the individuals in the team.
Oh, team, task, and individuals. Love that. And that's a great sailing analogy as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I can whiteboard that for a good old time and team build and everything with that.
Brilliant, and really exciting as well. My dad used to sail, and so did I, and it is very exciting. So yeah, I concur with that. Yeah, and Jack says, morning Mark, you're just down the road from your DMS in South Marston. So there you go, there's a connection for you.
Hey, there's an opportunity to build a community. Let's do that.
Well, that's what Leaderslive is all about for you. Yeah, indeed. Just thought I'd get that in quick. So, Mark, what superpower helps you to do what you do? What's your superpower?
I would love to say my superpower is like stand in for Brian May of Queen when he's on holiday or something, but it really isn't.
Is that air
So
guitar, is it?
Yeah. So my superpower, as boring as it is, spelling and grammar. I hate
Okay.
grammar, and dodgy spelling and full stops and commas in the wrong place and
blimey. You'll see loads of them in mine. Okay. So there you go. Eye for detail. Super. That's your superpower. Okay. Thirdly, what is one of the things on your bucket list, Mark, besides doing up your big house?
On my bucket list, I'd love to say, make my first million or something, but that's pretty boring. So really on my bucket list, there's a bunch of guys that I've sailed with for years, and our bucket list ambition is to win round the island race.
Oh, wow. Which one? The Isle of Wight or bigger one?
Yeah, around the Isle of Wight every year in summer. We've had 3 top 10 finishes over the years, but we've had a second, but we've never had a first. So while we're all on the green side of the turf, we're going to do it somehow.
Good for you, and a brilliant race that is too. I've done Cows Weeks, absolutely fantastic, love it. Yeah. So, favourite band? I think you've already given that away, but favourite band?
Well, I don't really have a favourite band. I like all sorts of music. It's a mood thing for me. So classical, Mantovani to Motorhead, really. Anything is really pretty.
Mozart to Motorhead. Okay. Fifth line. 3 top business or leadership tips you can pass on that have helped you in your career, Mark.
Okay. I think number 1 is you have to think about your customers. So what's your niche? Yeah. What are you good at? Forget everything that you could possibly do, given the most time and the biggest, fastest car to get to all the meetings and the best marketing. Just what are you good at? What is something that nobody else can do that you do?
So nail down on your niche.
What's your USP?
Yeah.
Number 2 would be, what's your niche? So yes, you could probably do stuff for anybody on the planet, but really, what do your best customers look like? What do they need? What can your service do for them? Have you got good references there? Stick to your niche. Don't go outside it. Yeah. Just stick with your niche. It's so important.
Brilliant. So USB, niche, and lastly?
I think about the benefits that your product or your service brings. Forget what it does. What it is, the description, the functions, the specification. Nobody's interested, because there'll always be a better product or service.
How does it help me, type of thing?
Yeah. How does it help somebody save money, reduce time, stop those birds squeaking in the background but don't hurt them?
Get a shotgun out.
Yeah. Whatever it is, what is the benefit that your customer would achieve from your product or service?
Yeah,
those are the 3 things. So niche, USP, and benefits.
And put those 3 together and add them into Tilly's employee advocacy scheme in LinkedIn, and you've got a winner. How about that? Winner, chicken dinner. There we go. Fantastic, Mark.
Team already, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So your contact details are already in the chat, Mark. So that's kind of crazy kids we are. So thank you ever so much for being on, even though it's only 5 minutes, and it's great to see you, Mark. Great to see a face to a name, and stick around, and we'll see you in the comments, no doubt, as well. So thanks again. We're going to say goodbye to you for now. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers, Mark. Bye-bye now.
Mark.
Cheers,
everybody. See ya. Right, okie dokie. Right, back to the show. So, okie dokie. So, Tilly, back to you. I hope you found that interesting, folks. Useful, interesting sidebar interlude, peeps. So, back to the show flow again, and back to Tilly. How teamwork makes the dream work on LinkedIn. And I'm going to open things up for the audience to ask some questions too. So, start getting your questions in the feed, folks. As I said earlier, let's pick up some questions for Tilly. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, we talked about strategy, and tell us a bit more about what that means, Tilly. I've got the wrong screen, haven't I? Just bear with me. Here we go. That's better. Apologies for that. Let's bring a bird in as well. So you talked about strategy, marketing strategy. How does this link to a brand advocacy program? Take that away for us. Tell us a bit more. What does it mean?
Yeah, I think let's just detail strategy and what I mean by that, Andrew. I find so often people try to figure out, how does LinkedIn work? How can I get more results?
Yeah.
And they haphazardly just go in and start connecting with people and try and find more and more people to connect with. They try and post more because they're not getting engagement and so on. And the real gem of LinkedIn is you need to work according to a strategy and a plan. Now, I know the word strategy is something that lies around very loosely, and I've seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn lately, people talking about strategy. And I just want to detail quickly what I do mean
Please do.
with what is a LinkedIn marketing strategy, because this is actually what you need to do before you start creating profiles and pages and content and just start haphazardly work on LinkedIn. The first thing in a strategy, in a LinkedIn marketing strategy for me, has got 5 pillars. And the first pillar is your goals. You need to clearly understand what is your business, marketing, and sales goals. Now, again, don't just go and say, I want to 10x my business in 2022. You need to break your goals down into smaller objectives. In other words, if you talk about business goals, just as an example, how are you going to, for instance, what is your goal with marketing? What is your goal with your keeping your overheads low, or focus on your more profitable products and services? So you really need to hone in to your goals and not just 10x my business. And goals to me is 3 goals. I always say set the business goals, the marketing goals, and the sales goals, so that it's all separate, and I can measure each one of them so that I can know where I need to improve at the end of the day. The second pillar is your ideal client. In your strategy, you need to clearly identify your ideal client. Now, I know in social media out there, there's people that talks about your user persona, your buyer persona. They've got to be 40 and drive a Porsche. I'm saying go a bit deeper. I would also like to find the guy that's 40 and drive a Porsche, but you need to deeper. What you want to know is, who are they?
Yeah.
Where do they go? What do they engage with? Who do they follow? Now, if you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is perfect for this, because you can go and look at your ideal client and see what groups do they follow. Which influencers do they support and follow? What is the type of content that they engage with? And all that information is there for you. So focus on finding in your strategy your ideal client and go as deep as you can. The third pillar to me, and this is something that people sometimes frown upon this when I say it, but that is a deep competitor analysis. In other words, what is their LinkedIn setup? Do they have a page? Do they have employee advocacy? How often do they post?
Yeah.
What do they post? Who follows them? And then I go one step further, because I do this in my strategy as my third pillar. I engage with my competitors on LinkedIn. I comment on their posts. I make myself visible. After all, they've got all of my ideal clients already lined up for me. But that is just a strategy that I follow. The fourth pillar is, and this is something very few companies do often enough, and that is a social audit. And this is not just your LinkedIn audit. I'm also talking about um, your entire social media. In other words, Um, what is your statistics currently? How many followers do you have? How many connections do you have? And so on. What is your current online structures? Look at what is your current successes and failures?
Yeah.
What is working for you? What is not working for you? And what is known problem areas, so that you understand when you formulate the strategy how you can improve. And then lastly, and this is what I'm all on about today, Andrew, is process mapping. It's not about how to get more engagement or more connections on LinkedIn. Is, do you understand your process? In other words, what is your lead generation process? How much of your lead generation process happens on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And what happens when you take them off LinkedIn? Remember, the objective with LinkedIn is to create conversations and to get them off LinkedIn as quick as possible.
Yeah.
LinkedIn doesn't belong to you.
Good point.
You need to earn the right to own a lead. And that is your overall message on LinkedIn. You want to build those conversations on LinkedIn, and you want to build those relationships so that you can take them off LinkedIn and nurture them off LinkedIn. And then overarching in your strategy then is your measurements and your management of this process. Now, if you ask me, how does all this fit into your employee advocacy program? Your employee advocacy program is part of the strategy. So unless you understand where you're going to and what is the road that you're going to walk, how much your employees understand it?
Yeah.
So it's very clear that you need to have a strategy on LinkedIn, so that when you implement employee advocacy as part of the strategy, that your employees understand what it is that you as a unit in your company are trying to achieve.
I really like that. And I like the 5 steps here. So, set your goals around your business, your marketing, and your sales. That's the first bit. The second bit was around understanding your ideal client. That takes a lot of work to do that, actually. And deep competitor analysis was number 3. And also engage with your competitors. There's a thought. And 4th and 5th were audit and measure, and then process mapping for lead generation to get people off LinkedIn and into different systems. And those are really important steps. And once you understand that as a business, you can then, from what I understand, linking that now into employee advocacy is getting that understood, and that whole process is the feed for everybody to work on. Is that correct, Tilly?
It is, Andrew. In the process mapping, lead generation is one process that you will map.
Yeah.
You can also map your content process.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
You can map your engagement process. You can map your brand advocacy process.
Yeah.
And if you use a multi-channel approach in your business, how much happens on LinkedIn? How much happens in Instagram? How do you connect all of those?
Yeah.
And this is where process mapping then becomes very important as part of the process. And I think the real message I'm trying to bring across, Andrew, we spend a lot of time on teaching people how to use LinkedIn, but without a process, just understanding how LinkedIn works is still going to leave you frustrated, feeling that you're wasting time.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing, isn't it, LinkedIn? And Tilly, you had some. Did you want to talk through any supporting slides you've got here? I was just thinking about social selling side and the other thing that you had about sweet spots and things. Is that useful to bring in now? Is it?
If you could bring in the social selling roadmap.
Of course, yeah. Let me have a look at that.
Just the image, then I can show you guys on the social selling roadmap. This is actually a step-by-step process that we follow in order to build our marketing strategy into this. But what we have done in marketing CX and what we do for our clients is, it's not about us. it's about them. In other words, it's not about my business, it's about my client. It's about the value they are seeking, the solutions they are seeking. So our social selling roadmap is really based on 7 steps, considering the ideal client, the audience, the community we are building, with a bonus step of calculate. So if I take you through that, first of all is we call it cope. In other words, where is your ideal client right now? What is he experiencing? He's just going in his day-to-day activities. What does he look like? You know, Andrew, I always use the analogy, and I'm not going to tell the Cinderella story today, but I always use the analogy, you know, if you watch a movie, let's take the Bourne Identity. We don't meet Jason Bourne when he was born. We met him at a point in time when he was just out there having amnesia. So where is your client right now? And this is where it is important that you do a complete business and client analysis, so that you can understand where do you meet them. What is the complications they are experiencing is our second step. You know, why aren't they where they want to be? Why would they actually need me to help them? And the third step is the counselor, and this is where we as the business comes in, where we introduce ourselves as the solutions provider to the client with his problem. But just having a ideal client that is somewhere that is experiencing a problem, and now I step in
as the
and
counselor,
as the counselor with credibility and empathy is not enough to do a sale or to generate a lead. I need to show him that I'm competent. And I need to show him that I have got a plan. I've done this before. I've done LinkedIn since 2004. I have a plan. I can help you to get somewhere, but I'm not just saying that. Here's the plan. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then we need to get our audience to go in and actually take action. Unless you do something about the situation you're in, you're always going to remain frustrated, wasting time on LinkedIn kind of scenario. So how do we get them to actually claim what we have to offer? And then the next step is really to highlight and to almost deepen the problem. Situation that what's going to happen if you crash? What's going to happen to your business if you crash? And then the last step is really the transformation. So if somebody engages with me and my business, and I found them where they cope, and I take them through this whole social selling roadmap process, what are they going to look like at the end?
Lovely.
What is the transformation they undergone? And then the bonus step is to populate and measure your progress as you're going, so that you continuously engage in what I call SIPs, service improvement programs, all the time.
Thank you.
And the beauty of this is, Andrew, it's a method that we've developed in marketing CX to set up your profile, to set up your page, to set up your strategy. And we follow the 7 step process, even in how to write your content, so that you always focus on them and not you. Think about it this way, Andrew. If I go out and I tell you that I make hamburgers and I do all sorts of fancy things with a hamburger, but I'm not hungry and I don't eat meat. You can tell me about your hamburger as much as you want. It's never going to resonate with me.
Yeah, exactly what Mark said earlier. Focus on what the client actually needs and how it benefits you. Thank you, Tilly.
Exactly.
Listen, we're going to come to some there's some questions for you in a moment, but just before we do that, I think this is an opportune moment just to jump into your CTA here, and then we'll come back to questions in a moment, because I'm just also conscious that we are knocking on time to finish very shortly. So let me just come to this, Tilly, for you. So this is Tilly's call to action here, and this social selling roadmap we've just been talking about here. And also, this makeover that we alluded to earlier, these are two well, there's several services here. Tilly, talk us through these, because you've been talking about these today and this morning. Talk us through these very quickly so we can get an idea of what that means and how you can help us here.
Andrew, if we look at the first one, the LinkedIn makeover, a lot of people talk about profile makeovers on LinkedIn and optimizing your LinkedIn. What we really focus on is to assist you with branding your employees' profiles on LinkedIn, starting with your CEO, I must add. And very few people know that your profile is actually set up into 3 categories. It has got the client section, which is the banner to the about section is your client section, and your client category. Your second category is what we call the bridge, and that is your experience that links your profile to your page. It's the bridge from your profile to your page, but it's also the bridge to the rest of the profile, which is your credibility, your recommendations, your skills, your volunteer work, and all of those kind of things. And we've built this methodology into LinkedIn where we focus on your profile, your page, and your group. Okay. And we look at all of these structures that you need to have a proper setup. If you start with a good foundation on LinkedIn, everything falls into place. The idea with your profile page and group on LinkedIn is to drive traffic to your brand and your brand message. Yeah. And you need to have the right keywords, you need to have the right hashtags, you need to have all of the mappings I spoke about, and so on. And we've got 2 bonus offers there. We do a message template and show you how to use templates, and we also give you a content roadmap. Now, currently for the Leaderslive attendees, we do that at $297.
There you go, folks. A bonus for you and a discount as well. How good is that? And that's how we started this morning, folks. We talked about the company page and how that links to profiles and all the technology that goes on behind, and also the story in terms of the story of selling and the social proof and the page, and that hits the sweet spot. And that's the bit that I have to say, for me and my profile on LinkedIn, Tilly and Berdine have worked hard on my profile, and it's a constantly moving thing. It's not just done once, but actually I found that incredibly useful going through this makeover myself, so I can definitely recommend it. And you got a good price there, so thank you for that. And then you started to talk about the social selling roadmap later on, and you've just finished with that. So talk us through this very briefly as a CTA as well.
The social selling roadmap is really a one-on-one coaching service that we do. And with the social selling roadmap, we take you from where you have your foundation elements to how you actually work LinkedIn to get to meet your business goals. It's a 3-month program, 12 sessions. It's customizable, so it is not just cast in stone. It does come with 12 LinkedIn trainings in a membership portal. Perfect. We do guidance around your marketing and sales processes, social selling processes. We map your marketing measure, your offers, your messaging, and all sorts of things. And we do have a weekly practical feedback session with you week on week to make sure that you progress. That is a 3-month program at $350 per month times 3, so it's 3 months at pounds. Did I say dollars? Yeah. Pounds. Yeah. As a Leaderslive price. There is an extension to this because a lot of our coaching clients find that LinkedIn change all the time and so on. So we have an extended membership portal and weekly group coaching, as well as weekly what we call Linkathons. We keep on training on LinkedIn, and access to a group support, which is £150 per month after the coaching services.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks, Tilly, for that. And just a quick announcement here while we're just wrapping up very shortly. Also in a couple of weeks, we'll be launching an additional offering, as I mentioned earlier at the start of this Leaders Live, as a pilot every other Friday, probably, we're thinking, at 12:30 for around 45 minutes. I've road tested this with Joe and Jonas and others in the group, and we'll be talking to Jack and others as well. It's going to be called Fishbowl Friday. Great name, I think, where we focus really deeply and on a particular company, product or service, and get more specific with the detail. We do some demos, behind the scenes insights, and all of those kind of things as well. And as our first pilot, Tilly will be doing a demo of what she's been talking about today to really reinforce this. That'll be in a couple of weeks in September. We're not quite ready yet. So thanks again for enlightening us here with this conversation, and we've loved having you on the show as always, Tilly. And just before we kind of just go into the wrap-up phase here, Berdine, what are the comments here? Are there any comments we just want to pick up, or questions that we need to pick up here?
It's just Joe asked if there's any way that you can extract a spreadsheet from LinkedIn regarding companies that have not only engaged with your content, but companies who have also viewed your content and not commented on LinkedIn.
Joe, no. Legally, no. And I'm very much against illegal bot systems on LinkedIn. It doesn't work. Currently, that sort of information is not available. You can extract your data from LinkedIn, but not on engagement level. No.
You can do on Sales Navigator, can't you? The people that have engaged in the last 30 days or whatever. It's just quite useful.
You can see it in Sales Navigator, but this is where we at Marketing CX built the marketing funnel in Sales Navigator to be able to control this kind of data. And it works well if you use a funnel system like that. But from a LinkedIn perspective, there's nothing like that, but you can within Sales Navigator, especially if you have the funnel system installed.
Okay, so a funnel system being part of that process of the strategy and the program and the steps involved. Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Tilly. That's been really interesting. There's a couple more comments here, but on the whole, I think we've got to wrap. So before we wrap, I've done the announcement. So thanks again, Tilly. It's been fantastic to have you on the show with such rich content, folks. I hope you've really enjoyed that. Before I get on to what's going to happen in next week, quick word on what's the purpose and the why to Leaders Live. Well, Leaders Live is an aspiring to be a talk show that generates business for all of us, folks, through extraordinary conversations like we've just had in this community that, looking at original solutions, networking ideas with a difference, all leading to profitable growth for us all. And the motto is here, I to the power of we, just like employee advocacy and teamwork advocacy that we've been talking about today. And it's all freely available, folks. So for all leaders, directors, managers and entrepreneurs who are interested in business growth through edutainment and enjoy taking part in interacting conversations and these extraordinary conversations, then this is for you. And that's what we do, folks. And, we want to bring a spirit of freedom, of joy and fun and feel-good factor in all of our working lives. And why shouldn't we do that, folks? And quick word on my CTA. As for my own commercial offerings, I run a team leadership and development consultancy called PDX, who actually are marketed by Marketing CX. So please contact me if you need help with your business to develop effective leadership, sales and operations teams for your people so they can operate at their very best and obviously help you to run a successful, profitable business. What's not to like about that? And I do that through specialised development programs like high-performance teamwork, executive and team coaching, and NLP business diplomas that are great for sales teams, by the way. So the goose for next week, folks, the goose for next week on Tuesday, the 30th of August at 8:45 a.m. p.m. UK time, we'll be hanging out with another recent contributor, David Fenton, PPE CEO, expert on wellbeing and eco-interior designer, that talks about wellbeing and links sort of wellbeing and interior design together. Really interesting, actually. And we'll be talking about how eco-friendly interior designs benefits wellbeing. Oh. So this and a whole lot more, folks. We can't wait. So be there, be square. And we're going to wrap up with this music, folks. So it's a wrap from us, folks. Just turn the volume down a little bit. Great to be hanging out with you all today, guys, online today. Sorry we've gone a little bit over. Thanks very much for being part of the show and creating such a great community vibe, folks. And this podcast will be out too shortly. And in the meantime, that's a wrap, folks. A wrap, folks. So from our hangout guest, the lovely Tilly, and our amazing Birdie moderator and me, we wish you a great week ahead. And you can pop out to this intro music. We're going to say goodbye to you now, folks. Cheers for now, folks. See you on the other side. Cheers. Ta-ra a bit. See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.